Hey guys, we're back here again. I'm here with Charlie Stickney. Hello, hi. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I was just quickly sending out one last minute tweet to let
Oh,
people know that we were going live.
oh, if you'd like to do that, I could go say hi to the chat real quick if you're still
Oh
in the
no,
middle
it's
of.
out. But please say hello to
Oh,
the chat.
okay.
I just want to make sure that we were putting K-pop out everywhere into the
Oh,
universe.
well,
Make
thank
sure that
you
people
for
are
doing.
watching. I'm sure all the people in your chat have already liked and subscribed to your channel. But I think that's just one of those things that
You know,
anyone who came in for me should like and subscribe to K-pop's channel right now.
well, I would hope so. There might be some lurkers that have been in here for a while that might have not followed me, but that's okay. You can do that. Please do. Let's say hi. We got Las Cruces all the way from New Mexico. What is up, Las Cruces? We got all the way from the UK. What is up, Glenn? How are you doing? And he is being the link dropper today. He is the
Thank you,
great
Glenn.
mod. Thank you, Glenn. We got all the way from the Canada. What is up, Dan? How are you? And that's it. And that's it. So we got so many people right now. That's okay. It's Sunday. It's probably some football and stuff happening. My guess. It's football day. Pre-Halloween. Yeah. But that's okay. We're getting started. We'll get more people in here.
That's all
How
good.
are you? How are you, Charlie?
I'm pretty good. Excited to be on your show. Excited to get the word out of what I do to a whole new group of people. I mean, I think that's the best part about a lot of these shows. So thank you for hosting them. It's a way of connecting creators with new people who might be interested in their work. And I think it's an underappreciated thing. And just so you know, we as a creator community really deeply appreciate people who are putting themselves out there and helping us.
Oh, well, thank you. Because I absolutely really enjoy doing these, and I love meeting new creators or finding completely brand new artists that I run into at cons, and I want to get them out there and have the world see their work because that's like my favorite thing of all time, and that's why I do these because I believe it's important for people in my community, other people online or anywhere. It's just to have people find somebody new that they haven't seen before. So I think that's hugely important in this whole part of this.
Well,
It,
and I think traditionally, you go into a comic book shop to find. Yeah, she really does. Like I think traditionally you would go into a comic book shop and you'd look at covers on the shelf, and that's how you find your books. But I think some of the distribution is changing, and there's a lot of creators who are looking to go direct to consumer to find and cultivate and build their own audiences. And so for those creators, every person who picks up their book matters. And I think in a comic book shop it's about what are my numbers? Did I sell 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 copies? And that's what you're looking at, that's what you're focusing on. But I think when you have the relationship, that dynamic between you and the people that are reading your books, and it's a direct connection, then you're finding the people who really enjoy your work versus who are checking it out because you come from a certain publisher that like, or you're doing a take on an IP character that somebody else owns. So really, I think the direct-to-consumer movement that's happened in the last, say, 3 to 5 years, that's kind of exploded, is the way for creators who might not be selling 20 or 30,000 in the stores right now to find people who really will resonate with the stories they're telling and build something sustainable.
oh, for sure. I think that's a great way to for uh that's why I like Kickstarter a lot too. Is it's a way for the people to get out there, especially if you're not doing a lot of the cons or you can't get your books into a lot of like the distribution places or like the LCSs. It's a great way for you to reach out and get fan base because a lot of the smaller titles and like the very indie people are having a huge fan base just based on Kickstarter alone. I think that's a great platform for these indie publishers and people are just starting out to get out and get their work out there. It's fabulous, really.
Yeah, and for the people who are in your chat who are probably new to me, I mean, I came up through Kickstarter. I was starting around end of 2016, early 2017. I started putting White Ash out on Kickstarter, and that started building as a pretty big brand on the platform. And at some point during that time, Scout Comics wanted to put out White Ash, and so they picked it up. We had some conversations, and then during the time when White Ash was being put out, we had more conversations, and I eventually took over as a co-publisher at Scout for about 2.5 years, helping run the company, grow the company. But all the while, I was still putting stuff out in Kickstarter because
Okay.
a direct market publisher, at the end of the day, your customers are stores, and you're trying to sell to the shops. And then the shops try to build relationships with the, the readers out there. And I kind of missed that connection that I was building directly with the fans. And also, while Scout does well, it has a very small share of the marketplace. Indie comics in general have a hard time making an impact in comic book shops. And so, for me, I was like, okay, I'm doing really well at Scout, but it's a very small brand there. On Kickstarter, we have a really large audience that loves us, and am I spending my time chasing the wrong thing? Because as a writer, what you really want to do is you want to build something sustainable where you can tell your stories and get them to the people who care about them. And for me, like thinking a lot about it, I realized that my place was really more on Kickstarter than it was in the direct market. And while there are plenty of people who love my books in the direct market, it's a top 10 brand on Kickstarter, which is a wonderful place to be because you can plan long term and you have different things coming in. And so I can continue to build this universe there and continue to build a fan base. And so I've been very fortunate, but I love that platform as a way to organically grow the people that you're working with. And
That's really. Oh, sorry. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. I was just saying, and connecting.
No. That's amazing that you could really connect that way on a platform that's like that and grow the fan base like that just by putting your stuff out there. And do you do special things when you put it out there when you first started to grow, to get it out there? Like, were you doing a lot of promotion stuff? Were you doing stuff like that just to get your fan base out there? Because that's a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Because that's a lot of things I see, like when people first start with their Kickstarters. I think that's the one thing that people struggle with is they don't know how to reach out there and they don't know how to get that initially. Is they kind of put it on there and they don't really know where to go from there. They kind of struggle and let it go. They don't really do the promotional things because I've seen that a lot where they'll leave it on there and they don't really promote it. A lot of times they won't even tell people they have a Kickstarter. So what would be your kind of recommendation to go like once you put it on there? Like, what would be your
I think it's hard. Like let's just start with it's hard because a lot of people who are artists or who are writers are introverts, right? And so much of this is that you have to be extroverted. You have to find ways to connect with people who are coming to your books. So like and I'll just sort of acknowledge that for some people it's inherently hard because it's not part of their personality. I think if you're looking to build a Kickstarter audience over time, there are a couple of keys. The first key is having a great book, working with good artists if you're not an artist yourself, making sure that what you're doing is at a certain level. But for your first Kickstarter, what you have to, when you look at Kickstarter as a platform, it's an audience amplifier versus an audience from scratch builder. So if you look that you're going to Kickstarter and saying, okay, I've got this one guy who's going to back my Kickstarter and you're hoping that 700 people are going to show up, that's not the case, right? So what you need to sort of look at is say, like for your first Kickstarter, reach out to all your friends, all your family, and everyone that you know well enough to say, hey, I'm going to launch this next Tuesday. Can you back it? It doesn't have to be for $100. It can be get the $5 digital. And so that way, by sort of kickstarting your Kickstarter, you brought an audience in, and that proves to anybody who's scrolling by, oh, people like this thing. And so it's a little bit of a cheat for your first one. But what you're hoping is, if you're doing serializing comics, and because that's a different thing than doing lots of one-shots, like that's mostly what I've done, sort of taken the direct market model and put it on Kickstarter where everyone is the next issue. And so I started with White Ash. I built that as a brand. Then Glarien was our spin-off series. And so everything is sort of moving, you're starting from a point, you're building a brand, and then you're using that brand to branch off into other titles, other brands and things like that. But you're building something from scratch and bringing in readers for that. But so you have your first one, It's funded by maybe 50% friends and family. Maybe it's more, maybe it's 80%, right? And then if you're going to come back with a second issue of that series, you have to expect that some of those people, when you go to launch again, are going to be like, oh, wait, you're still doing this? Right? Like I did that for you like 3 months ago. You want me to keep doing this? So you lose a lot of those people, but hopefully the people who come back are the people who organically found you through the platform or through other places. And they're people who love your work. And then from the second one on, you start building that fan base. And it really is that wash, rinse, and repeat. If you're building a good book, if you build in good cliffhangers and then you come back, people they're going to stay with you. As long as you stay with them. You have to stay in communication. You can't ghost them as a Kickstarter person. You need to deliver. You need to deliver in a reasonable time. So if you're handling this all like a professional business, I think over time you will see at least some slow growth. If your book really hits in the zeitgeist in the right way, if it's the kind of book that attracts people, you might see some more exponential growth. It might be a lot faster for you. But that all comes back to the quality of your book. But in terms of what you can do as a creator, it's that consistency, bringing it to the platform, staying in contact with people, and then finding shows like this one in between your two different campaigns, so you don't disappear, right? So it's like, oh, it's that book that I backed like a year and a half ago. They're coming out with a second issue now. Do I still like that? I don't know. Like you have to stay in the public consciousness a little bit.
Stay kind of relevant, stay kind of up to date. And then like I noticed that too, is like if they're still wanting to do a series, I notice a lot of teams like they don't do posts or anything, like, and then they go, oh hey, guess what, we have a new Kickstarter coming out. But you got to constantly keep doing stuff to keep your fans up to date, otherwise they're not going to remember that you guys still have stuff going. So keep on it, guys.
Right. And also Kickstarter and a lot of the other direct to consumer platforms are communities. And so it's not just about promoting your own work. I spend a lot of time on social media lifting up other people because I have a decent following there. And so I will lift up other projects that are on the platform. I'll do threads, I'll do lists. So even when I don't have my own campaign running, I'm helping sort of put out my own brand some more. And my brand is someone who is very invested in that community. And people remember that when it comes time for my next project to come out.
Oh, I think that's huge. And I think that's a huge part of the scene that's on the campaign crowdfunding. As I notice, it's a lot of the indie people that have their own campaigns go and back other campaigns because they want to fund other indie publishers. And that's a huge part of it. And they go on there and pretty much every person that I've had on there goes and backs other campaigns. And you'll see that too on their campaigns. You go, oh, this person backed this campaign. And then they're always constantly sharing stuff. So I think that's awesome. And like the community that people are there to back each other and even just sharing it. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm closing on 1,000 projects backed at this point. Which is nice. But I mean, like, and to be fair, because my campaigns do well enough, I also have the revenue to be able to back a lot of other campaigns. So
yeah, I myself just hit super backer. I never even knew that was a thing.
It is. Congrats. Congrats.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. But I got really big into not even buying like monthlies or anything. I've just been buying, like, going nuts buying like Kickstarters and stuff, because to me that's where I find more interest right now, is just the weird indie titles that are on Kickstarter that you don't find in the stores, because that's always been kind of like my reading habit. Like even when I would go to the library, those were the titles that I would get like in the book forms. Like that's what I would find, and that's what I'm finding now on Kickstarter in comic format. So I'm having way more fun with that than I am on shelves and that's coming out monthly. So that's why I'm having way more fun with that.
Well, and there's also more books on Kickstarter than there ever have been before. I think right now we're around 345 that are live right now, which is the highest it's ever been at this time of the year, because so many creators are sort of realizing maybe the publishing route isn't the right route for me to be trying to get in, because some of these indie publishers don't pay or don't pay as well. And what am I giving my rights up for? And it's more sustainable for them to go through Kickstarter. It's more responsibility, but the risk versus reward, it just works out better, and it's more sustainable to build an indie title. And the quality of books that is on the platform has gotten so much better. in the 7 years that I've been part of it. And so it used to be there were a couple of good books. Now the art is great. And it's, the place that creators who want to tell a story are coming. And you look, from like Neil Gaiman doing Good Omens there as a graphic novel. So if Neil Gaiman is going Kickstarter first, I don't know. I mean, like, Sean Gordon Murphy's going Kickstarter first right now. Like if you think you're a better writer than Neil Gaiman and a better artist than Sean Gordon Murphy, and that you need to be at some other better place, yes. But like if it's good enough for them, it's probably good enough for you as well.
Yeah. See, I think people kind of give some of the more well-known publishers kind of some crap for doing it that route. But I think the reason that they do it is because of the fans. It is a fan experience when you do it that way, because you get to interact more with the process of doing it. You get to see behind the scenes footage of that. Not only that, you get kind of like perks along the way as you're going. So I think when they do it that way, they're not just doing it because they want to crowdfund a project. They're doing it because they're offering an experience to their fans that you can't actually get if you're just going to go put something on the shelves. And that's an added bonus to that side of the crowdfunding campaign that you can't get just if I'm going to go pick up a thing in the store. So I think that is a phenomenal thing. That's an added bonus that I see to this when you get those updates along the way. And that's, to me, is fun for me when I'm backing a campaign and I get to see all that stuff. Also, what's up? Hey, Jason, how are you doing?
100%, that connection between creator and reader. And I see that at comic book conventions when people come up to us, they feel like they know us, which I love. And as someone who's even when we're sending out 1,000 packages, I've done most of those myself. I start to know the names of the people who come back again and again. And so it's really nice.
Oh, that's really cool. So you said around 2016 when you did your first Kickstarter campaign?
I think we launched in 2017, but I was spending a lot of time researching in 2016, putting together White Ash as something that we were going to launch on Kickstarter. And so for people who don't know, White Ash is grounded fantasy. It's modern day. Think Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Rings in rural Pennsylvania. So modern day fantasy in coal mining country. The other pitch I like to do is imagine if the guys from Supernatural got stuck in Riverdale, but rather than battling demons from hell, they had to deal with the worst of Mordor. So it's like, grounded fantasy, a little bit of romance set modern day. Glarien, which is our spin-off series, is it's the origin story of the world's most dangerous elf, but it's told through the eyes of a young woman in 1970s New York who's having visions of being Glarien from 3,000 years ago. And so over the course of this mini-series, you're going to see how these two women are connected. And it's also going to pay off a piece of the past of White Ash, because it's one giant interconnected universe that is plotted out for roughly about 60 issues for White Ash. And, Glarien, we have 3 other mini-series that are in the works right now that will be coming out after this. So it's a big epic tapestry that Kickstarter gives me the ability to sort of say, I'm going to do this big epic tapestry. Because if I said I was going to a crowdfunding, if I was going to a traditional publisher, you might get 4 issues. Maybe you would get 6, before they tell you, oh, the numbers are getting low. But ours functions the opposite way. We've just gotten bigger with each campaign that we've done, which has been really nice.
Yeah, that's the other thing too about Kickstarter. You're kind of free. Like if you're just doing Kickstarter yourself and you're self-publishing, you're kind of free to go do whatever you want to do with your own book. You don't have that kind of restriction of like someone else telling you, no, you can't really do that. You're free to do with the story with what you want to do, and you can, let it go. Do with what you will. And yes, elves can be evil. Elves are probably some of the best characters that you could do, because there's so many versions of an elf that you could have. And I like the elves that are in this. And when we get to the Kickstarter page, you're going to see some saucy action there, CJ. There's some good pages in there.
Well, I'd like to say that, White Ash is a PG-13 book that some R-rated characters occasionally come to visit. Glarien's one of those R-rated characters. So this is her origin story. It's a little bit of a sowing oats story. And it's about that period of time when, we're in our early, late teens, early 20s, where you feel invulnerable. And that comes to everything from, the choices you make to for sexuality and things like that. And so it's expressing some of that. And she is a free spirit, and that is all there. And so it's inherent to the story. There are things that we need to show that might be a little bit saucier, but that's part of the character.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, some good stuff. Yes, exactly. It is some good stuff. All right. I got a couple questions from Glenn. Let's ask this question
Sure.
first, and then I will go and pull up your Kickstarter page. So Glenn wants to know, what's your favorite film of all time?
That's tough. I mean, you can always just list your favorites. I would say that two
Yeah.
of my favorites off the top of my head would be Back to the Future and
Okay.
Groundhog Day, which are two of the best written films of all time.
Nice.
They're impeccably planned out, and the balance between character and narrative is really sharp. So like those were where I would start. In another lifetime, I used to write romantic comedies, so that's
Ooh.
in the same kind of wheelhouse as some of those films.
Interesting, because that was another question that Glenn brought up, and he wants to know: have you ever thought about writing for film or TV?
So I actually, I mean, I came from a background like when I was in college, it was the two paths. Do I want to go? Do I want to move directly to New York and be a comic book writer? Do I want to move to LA and work in film and television? And I got a job offer in film and television, so I moved out. And so I have worked in animation. I've worked in documentary film. I've worked in feature film. I've worked in independent film as both a writer and producer. Worked as an editor. So I did all kinds of things in the entertainment industry for a long time. And I was reaching a point where a lot of the projects I was pitching to studios, they would say to me, "Hey, this is great, but if it was based on something, we'd be more interested." And what people don't know is like the process for a screenwriter or for a TV writer is you develop an entire world or a script or a pitch, and your agent takes it out to the production companies, and they look at it, and it might be read by 35 to 70 people if you're lucky, and then if no one bites, that's it, and you just spent a year developing this thing that 70 people read. And for me as a writer, it was getting really frustrating, and I thought, why don't I just go make that thing and see if there's any interest there? And so I shifted back into comics. And I'll be honest, when I was first, I was thinking, well, if this does well, maybe it'll be a TV show, maybe everything will work. And then I started loving the process so much of being able to create something, getting it to the people who care about it, beyond just like the readers. It it was just so artistically fulfilling, and we were doing well. It became a shift that I sort of embraced wholeheartedly. And so for the last, say, 5 years, primarily, I have just been doing comics. That's not to say that at some point we won't go back and go the other direction with things, and maybe there will be a White Ash TV show or a movie. But for the moment, I'm really loving just building that universe and being able to connect with fans.
Hey, Juan. Yeah, I could see this either being a live action or a very, very nicely done animated series. Would be very
Yes,
cool.
yes, for sure.
See that fitting super nice. What's up, Wong? How are you doing? All right. With that being said, I do have some questions started. If you guys have any more, just ask them. I'll start them as we go. But let me go ahead and pull up your Kickstarter page. Let's see here. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. No, that's to happen. Let's see if it changed our view. No, it did not. There we go. Okay. There we go. And Wong says, hi, how are you doing?
Hello.
Lynn said, that was so cool, Charlie. Yes. Okay. Also, this cover here, who did the art for this cover? Because this cover here is so gorgeous.
That is Mariana Ignazzi. I think I'm probably butchering her last name. She's an Italian artist. She's doing Buffy for Boom right now.
Ooh,
And
nice.
she and I may be collaborating down the road in some other things. I get to work with some incredible artists, and I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate. I've picked well for some people before they blew up, and other people now that we're doing well enough are willing to work with us. I got to have a Jay Lee cover for something that we
Ooh.
did for White Ash. I mean, so I've gotten to work with some big names and some incredible artists.
Yes. What's up, Gary? And what's up, Jagger? How are you guys doing? Yes. So as you guys can see, if you want to back this, it has already completely smashed the goal. So you don't have to worry about it being funded by the time it ends. And there is 16 days to go. So this ends here. Oh, yeah, here, let me do that real quick. So we don't have to keep pulling this back up, because I would like to back this because it is awesome. So right now you're at $35,000 goal. That's amazing. And you have you're at 1,057 backers. That is so cool. You have 16 days to go, and it ends on Wednesday, November 15th. So if you guys want to back, you don't have to worry about it being funded, and it does end. You got some days to go. You got 16 days to go. I will play this trailer soon, but I got to unplug for that. So yeah, you guys don't have to do that. You crushed the living heck out of this goal here.
Yeah, we have a very strong fan base, which again,
Yeah.
as a creator, it lets me sort of plan things out well in advance, and so we know that you know, again, I can plan long term. I can make sure that everyone's getting paid really well to work on the book. We do a lot. You know, our books are printed on cardstock covers with, you know, really high-end glossy paper. You know, we have ketchup packs. And so what we always try to do is present, we take that money and we reinvest it in the product, whether it's the artist that we're working with, to build something that you feel like that when you open the box that you're getting something special, because
Very nice.
the people that I work with are special.
I have a question. What printer company do you use for your Glarien?
So I've used several
Okay.
for different books in the past, and you know, I think as a micro publisher or an indie publisher, you sort of need to figure out where you're going with things. Currently, the publisher that I'm really enjoying is a publisher called Color Vision. They're
Okay.
out of Minnesota, so they're domestic. And, you know, they have some of the best rates that I've seen for a domestic printer. And, you know, when I print roughly, you know, our print runs are around 3,000 per issue. And then the variant covers range from about 150 to 250, depending on how many people backed for those covers. So, you know, roughly, like I said, 3,000 copies. So it's offset print. We get a really good deal on that. The shipping's not too high. They did posters for my last campaign, you know, the fold posters, like 11 by 17 folded down, that came out great. So if you're looking for a printer for anything, you know, hit me up after the show. I can put you in touch with my contact, because their quotes are really good.
Nice, nice. I like to learn about that. I know we have a couple here in Michigan, and then I like to ask people that because some people use fairly different ones I've never heard of before, and that's fun for me to hear about this.
Yeah, I mean, like I've used other printers before that that I'm not using anymore, so I won't mention them.
Yeah, no,
But
that's
like
completely fine.
that's like it's look, I think it's a hard business. I think sometimes the margins are tight. I think things happen. But I've had a great relationship with Color Vision, and the damages have almost been non-existent, which is a wonderful
Nice.
thing, because when you get a rate for a printer, you know,
Mhm.
you're always like, that rate may change if all of a sudden 10% of the books are damaged in a way that
Oh
you
no.
can't sell
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
And that, I'm sure if there's anybody in the chat, they, you know, who has printed things at a mass scale, they know that feeling. And that can happen. I haven't had, I have maybe less than like 0.5% damages on these books. Like, they'll just be a stray copy here or there that something happened to.
That's a really good low percentage. That's nice. Also, okay, so for people that are just joining in, we're talking about Glarien of White Ash. You're up to issue 3. So how many issues in Glarien do you think you're going to go up to?
So this is a 5-issue miniseries,
Okay.
but these issues are long. The first issue is 40 pages. The second issue is 32 pages. This issue is a 44-page issue. The issues take a little bit longer to make because of that, but you know, it gives you more story. So really, if you're looking at this as like a traditional comic, you know, we roughly be on issue 5 to 6 of that miniseries, with 2 more to go. So it's a longer miniseries, which has a lot of meat to it. There are 2 parallel storylines, because as you can, you know, like I said, for people new, it tells Glarien's origin story, the world's most dangerous elf, as told through the eyes of this young woman in 1970s New York. So you have a story that's happening in 1970s New York, 1971 to be specific. This young woman, Rachel, who just recently, you know, she survived a fire, and then had a miscarriage. Her boyfriend left. Like, all kinds of heartache has happened to her, and you know, this trauma coincides with her starting to have these visions where she almost kind of wakes up from a trance, having been Glarien in her mind. You know, there's a scene where she wakes up on a subway, again daydreaming of being Glarien, and through these daydreams, we're using it to tell Glarien's story. And there's a lot of parallel themes that are happening concurrently between the two timelines. And, and some of the narrative starts to overlap. And as we go forward, and particularly in this issue, there is a little bit more of that overlapping happening. So, yeah. And as you can see here, you have the woman on the right, she's at a disco club in the 70s versus a tavern in ancient Alfheim. So you get, I love this cover. I mean, it's just really nice sort of joining of the two timelines.
I love the colors that are used in this. It's really nice.
Yeah.
And I love the different forms of like creatures, and like it's really nice in here. I like that a lot.
So that's by our series artist Romina Morinelli. She's amazing, and her color palette is really distinctive. Like when you start seeing more of her work, and if you see anything else that she's done, because she did a lot of covers for Aspen and things, it's very clear quickly that it's her. And so she does the line art for the book, and she also does all the colors, the stuff that takes place in Alfheim. We have a different colorist for the stuff that takes place in 1970s New York, and that's Finn Cram, who is our main series colorist on White Ash. So we're trying to tie it with the color a little bit more into the modern day series, and so it has a little bit of that feel to sort of bring it into that other world and ground it in the White Ash universe, where this feels a little bit more ethereal and smooth, where White Ash is a little bit more hard and gritty. And you'll see that in the preview pages too.
Nice. So if anybody wondering, this is Glarien here with the saucy elf, and then this is Rachel, who is in the 1970s New York. And then down here, so these are just some of the other like titles that you've had on here. That's Glarien, White Ash, and then you have the game down here. Nice, very cool. I like the different titles that you have in your series. They remind me of like RPG style type role-playing tabletop-y type stuff, which I dig a lot. And here we go, some of the preview pages, which when I read this, I thought this was amazing. this scene here. So cover your eyes if you have your children around right this second.
I mean, some bits are covered anyway, just to make sure it's safe for Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So,
but it's very well drawn. But even here, just the coloring is so superbly well done. I love it. I love all the different colors that are in here. So nice.
And her world building is so great too. I mean, you can see so much attention has been paid to what she's showing in the frame and the way it's staged. I mean, honestly, like I love working with. If I'm doing something a little bit saucier, it's great that there's a woman that I'm working with who can put the camera in the right places, so it doesn't feel like it's being gratuitous in that moment. Like I trying to find that balance between doing something that's pushing the boundaries a little bit and also being tasteful.
Yes, beautiful art. So backstory on this right here. So they're having some saucy time, and then Glarien gives him a tub of some kind of moisturizer, gel, lotion, potion stuff. And then she goes, put that on. So he puts it on, and immediately something's the matter. And then he just all of a sudden just goes, and then a demon is summoned. Which is got to be the best gateway demon summoning in any book I have ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
Bravo for that.
It was one of those things. I put that in the page and I was like, I wonder how that. Oh, she did it. She nailed that scene. She like really nailed it.
She spot on nailed that. That is a good question. Apparently not. If we're going with
well, like for me, I mean, like it's not that there are things that are taboo and they're not taboo. There are certain stories that I want to tackle, and there's certain stories that I shy away from. That because they aren't as of interest to me. To me, this is a coming of age story. When you're doing a coming of age story, if you're not dealing with sexuality, which is such a key component to that transition to adulthood, then you're neglecting a big piece of it, because like that is at the core as we form our identities. Sexuality is a part of that. So again, I try to figure out narratively what's the story I want to tell, and that informs the decisions of what topics I'm going to cover.
And which is so interesting too, because it's a coming of age story, but when they speak about age, she's an elf, but she's like what 120 here at the time.
Yes, I mean, like it's all perspective, right? Like it's like
Yeah,
for her, like she's like really like is roughly like 18 here. Like
yeah,
that's my kind of thing. Like she's 18, 19, somewhere in there, but in elf years it's 120.
yeah, but yeah, it's so funny to hear that dynamic because when like the parents come and they scold her, but like, oh, you're such a like a youngin, and like it's like 120, and they're like, oh, like that's so funny to hear that like age gap type thing, but it's like all elf, lingo, which is cool. But I like the demons and the cool, just gnarly creatures in this are just so cool because they're slightly different than what you would normally typically see, which I enjoy. And then here you can see the flashback to Rachel, who is like kind of reliving these
Yeah, and you can see
flashbacks.
already how the color palette changes, right? This is Finn.
Yeah.
You know, it's
It's
the
more
same
kind of,
artist.
yeah. So like they're more kind of muted fall colors.
It's that 70s drab that you feel like
Yeah.
everything was dirty in the 1970s.
Like you go back and your kitchen was like that golden yellowy color.
As someone who was born in the 70s, yes, it was.
I'm pretty sure everyone had that same kitchen at some point. Yeah. But yeah, that's so cool that you can see that dynamic. But yeah, everything is like really cool dynamic coloring. Like the palettes you can see immediately just completely change. And that's cool that you go into those worlds immediately just based on the color tones and how they change. It's awesome.
Well, I was trying to find ways to make that shift apparent, and then that really helps. So you know when you're going back from the world just by the color alone.
Yeah, that's really neat. And then she's kind of really traumatized by all of these like visions that she's having. Um, that she's telling kind of like her therapist, like what she keeps seeing and all the different flashbacks. So this is from issue 1 here. Well, it's like a sneeze. Dang, my nose all tickly. So yeah, she's just kind of telling like the therapist just the visions that she keeps seeing of Glarien. But yeah, then you flashback more to these visions, what's happening, and then there's her mom. Her mom is just this tough
She's
warrior
cold.
lady. She is
She is
cold,
cold.
warrior lady. Yeah, you can see there. She's just like smack. Yeah, how dare you? Yeah,
Yeah,
there's her dad.
this was another embarrassing escapade by their teenage daughter, right? Like you've
Yeah,
embarrassed the family again. That's kind of
yeah,
the vibe there.
yeah. So stuff happened, and then now they're saying that she's gonna have to go work off in the what do they call it again?
It's the Legion. Like she's off to
The Legion. Yeah,
yeah.
she's off to Legion to go, pay her dues because some stuff happened, and then the lover that she had died. So sad. But yeah, and then back over here. But yeah, you can really see the toll it's taking on poor Rachel here. Uh, but yeah, this is very cool dynamic. I really like just the characters in here. And then I don't know, we got mystery guy here. It's following her, and obviously something is up with this guy. Ooh, so big time. Neat. But that's interesting. I like this. This is very cool. Very, very cool. Flip back over here for a second. Yep, we got more peeps. What's up, peeps? But here's some more of the covers. These are very cool. So these are for issue 3, which is the current one that's up on Kickstarter, which is nice. Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool. I like they got the 2 of them there. What's this one? So this is covered by Summer Dale. Very cool. I like the art style. I like the different art styles. And this is the one here, which is the one that's on the top.
Yeah.
Very gorgeous. Very gorgeous. Super pretty. And then the one down here. Ooh. Ooh, that's an oil painting. Luca Strati from Redstone.
He does some good work too.
Oh, that's neat. Oh, that's really gnarly. Just decapitated head. Ooh. Oh, that's sweet. Very cool. And you found some really cool artists for this. Very nice.
Yeah, I'm lucky I get to pick and choose some good people to work with. And and this cosplay shoot was done by Shayna Feely, who's out of Buffalo, New York, and she did the whole thing for me. She created the costumes. She found 2 models. We did a giant photo shoot with 2 different women, and yeah, so like that was wonderful to work with.
They did a really great job on the craftsmanship on that.
Yep. No, she did everything.
Oh,
These
super
are two
pretty.
different outfits of Glarien from two different things, and she made both outfits for both women. So I
Oh, wow.
have a whole camera roll of both of them in both of those different outfits. We recently did a hardcover of Glarien short stories called Glarien Short and Deadly. You can get that as an add-on for this campaign. It's a 116-page hardcover, and there's a different cosplay of both of them in that as pinups.
Very nice. Very nice. They look really lovely.
Yeah.
This cover is just awesome.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the colors that
Skylar
are happening in
Patridge,
this.
who is she's doing Supergirl right now.
Oh,
She's got a big book coming
nice.
out through DC. She's great.
Very cool.
We are going to
That's
be
just
dropping, just so you know, if anyone's backing, one of the things I like to do is when I have a stretch goal. So
mhm.
one of the next stretch goals is going to be a chrome holofoil version of this cover, which is going to really
Oh,
pop.
snap.
And we'll give away 5 copies to people who have already backed the campaign randomly. And then anybody else who wants it can add it on. But I always try to, if I'm going to like drop one of those covers, I just don't want to drop something that you can just buy. I want to make sure that anyone who has been there has a chance to randomly get one for free. So,
Oh, that's cool. Gosh, yeah, that would look super awesome in a, you said chrome holofoil.
yes.
Wow, yeah, that'll look super flamey. I like the weird demon dude in the background. That's awesome. Great job. All right, so here's a different rewards. All right, let's go down here. These all line up.
Well,
Digital
this is
bundle.
actually, so I try to give a lot of value with my campaigns. So anyone
Mhm.
who backs the issue also gets a digital bundle of 3 Glarien short stories.
Oh,
So
cool.
that just comes automatically with the main story with so and basically at any tier, if you back that, you're going to get that digital bundle.
Oh,
And
that's
you're
awesome.
also going to get White Ash #1, so you can get a taste of that universe. And that's a 52-page issue. You can see that's the next thing that you can see. So this is again, basically anyone who backs Glarien is going to get an extra 80 pages of digital comics that are set in the
Oh,
universe.
very cool. Very cool.
So
I like that. Let's see. This cover right here is absolutely stunning. The stained glass. That's so
yeah,
pretty. Well, they're
that's
all
Chris
pretty, but
Panda. Those
it's
like
awesome.
so that we actually these 3 digital issues were released as a one shot through Scout.
Okay.
And then so I took those 3 short stories and added 5 more, and that's what's in our hardcover. And while those are all standalone short stories that range anywhere from like 8 to 16 pages, they do provide context for the Glarien series. Because again, it's part of this tapestry. So the more Glarien you read, the better you're able to understand and maybe quicker to figure out things in the mystery.
Oh, that's sweet. Very cool. I do that. So you get these. All these PDFs will come here. Oh, you get a souvenir napkin.
That's
That's
the
cool.
bar that the 70s disco bar that Rachel is at, the
That's
Hell's Garage.
that's fun. That's fun. Let's see what else we get here. Holiday gift boxes. Okay, these are cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
These are
that's
very
that's
cool.
basically for like that's an add-on that you can sort of add on if you want to get if this is like especially people who know the world. If you love this, you can these will mail out the first week of December. So before the other Kickstarter rewards, I just want to make sure that people have a chance and they come in those boxes, which look very nice.
Those are some high quality boxes too.
Yeah.
Those are very nice. All right, so you got your catch-up tier here. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Are these? Let's see. I'm trying to see if they're in order.
Yeah, they're roughly in order there. So there's the digital version of the catch-up tier on the right, and
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so you want the just a regular digital for issue 3 is just $8 here. So you want that, that's right there. And then here is the digital issues for 1 through 3. It's for $18 here. And that's just what this is here. That's just the catch-up tier for Glarien. Then if you want Glarien plus the White Ash, wait, what's this? Glarien Origins. Okay, so oranges. Oh, this is just a different cover.
that's the hardcover. I mean, that's the
Oh,
digital
okay.
versus like the physical copy.
Physical copy. Okay, so physical copy is 18. That ships anywhere in the world. So let me just click this for a second. So you get $7 shipping to the US, and it looks like 15 pretty much anywhere else in the world if you want to do you
Yeah.
outside the shipping. So that's pretty cool. That's not bad though. So I know there's a lot of people in the chat that want global shipping, And I know a lot of people don't do global shipping, so that's cool that you guys
Yeah,
offer that, which is awesome.
I use Pirate Ship, which gives
Oh,
me
nice.
rates that are cheap enough that I can afford to do that, and I can amortize some of the costs. But like, you know, it's Kickstarter books are what they are. You have to pay for making them, but you get, like I said, with any of our issues, you're getting an additional 80 an 80-page digital comic that goes with it that's filling out the world. So, and with this, you get the napkin, and you're going to get a poster because we've unlocked a poster as a stretch goal, and you're going to get some other things.
Okay. CJ has a quick question. Do you make specialty boxes for all your Kickstarters?
So yes and no. I had a large run of custom white ash boxes that I used, which were the equivalent of like a high-end Gemini, which had two air cells in it that you put the comics in, and it looked like that. It was really nice. I have just gone through all of those, and so at some point I need to get some more of those printed, but I need to figure out what the bundles are, because if it's just if it's just an issue or two, the Gemini does it really nice, and then I can save some money in terms of what I have to charge other people. But for the multi-issue mailer packs, I'm probably going to get those again. But I also use like the ones that you saw in the gift box. I use those for conventions as well, because I'll have those on the table, and I'll just say, like, here's a con special, and it's $75 or whatever, and you get everything on the table.
Oh,
because I just
cool.
want, because I'm always looking at conventions to find new readers, and so yeah, so something like that. But like I have those high-end boxes. I think they look really nice at conventions. When I do send them out as gift boxes, I put those inside another box. So like those are not the things that are shipped. Those are shipped inside another box. So they don't get damaged. Lots
Very
of
cool.
bubble wrap. I do like, I even have special bubble bags that I use to put the comics in, and that makes sure that when they get places, they are in great condition.
I mean, from just the one picture alone, it looks super fancy. The way it was just packaged, you had tissue paper in there. It looked really
well, those are for the
quality.
gift boxes. We definitely
I mean, that
definitely
looked
try to make it nice.
very high quality. So, what are the main cons that you go to?
So I have been at San Diego for the last couple of years. I'm LA based, so for me with family, it's mostly been things that are somewhat close. WonderCon. I'll have a giant booth at LA Comic Con this year. It's going to be a 10 by 20 with 2 end caps, just for the White Ash universe. So
Wow.
and we fly out a couple of artists usually to host with the things that we're doing. So but LA Comic Con, Comic Con Ontario, San Diego Comic Con, WonderCon have been our mainstays. I'm looking to probably expand to New York Comic Con, Emerald City Comic Con, and Baltimore Comic Con in the next year or so, family pending.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of people in chat that go to New York and Baltimore and Ontario Comic Con. That one, I'm tempted to go because that is literally like 10 minutes from my house.
Unfortunately, it's Ontario, California.
Oh, Ontario,
it's not Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But if it was, I would love to go there.
Hello, Quack. Yes, I do remember you. How are you doing? I'm glad you came by again. Welcome back. And what is up, baby? What's happening? Yeah, I know a lot of people, they go to from here on the YouTube, they go to Heroes Con, Baltimore, New York, several that go to Fan Expo Toronto, C2, E2, and then a lot of like the California based ones. Oh, and also the New Orleans one. And also my main Detroit one, we go to Motor City and then Grand Rapids, which is actually happening next weekend here. I'm doing well. Hope you're also doing well. Also, what is up, Timothy? How are you doing? The fake Ontario.
It is the fake Ontario, but it's a close enough Ontario that I can drive there and back each day, which always makes for a more profitable convention than if you have to stay at a hotel. And happier family when you come home to put the kids to bed, there with in the morning to get them up.
Yes. Oh, Timothy has a really good question here. Let me see. So, is it a great idea to change tactics and go from crowdfunding to other means of getting your book out there?
Well, I don't think that you have to be exclusionary, do one or the other. Like I have done crowdfunding. I've had things distributed through the direct market, through the bookstore market. And what I find is that then in turn funnels people back to, what you have to figure out as a creator. I think it's important to know what your channel is. Where do you do well? Is it convention? Is it the convention circuit? Is it the crowdfunding circuit? Is it the bookstore market? Is it the direct market? Is it the digital market? And maybe you do great in a bunch of places, but if you have a place that is your sweet spot, that's what you build off of, and you build your business model around doing well there. But you want to make sure that you're in those other places, and then you use them as ways to funnel people back to your moneymaker. At least that's sort of my perception of how I run things. But also you don't want to be too dependent on any one channel, because if something happens then to that channel, then you're in trouble. And a lot of people found this out, at the beginning of COVID, when at that time Diamond was the only distributor of comics, and they shut down for 2 months. And for a lot of the stores, they thought they might go out of business because they're so reliant on cash flow, and the fact that they couldn't get comics coming in and new comics, that just, it was terrifying. And some did go out of business, but they quickly started finding ways to get other comics, and indie creators were important to them for a brief time. But like there's so I do think it's important to always look at different channels, but you should know as a creator where you do best.
Oh, for sure. I definitely think keeping your options open and kind of expanding to things just in case you need a backup, like you said, because that came out of nowhere for the lockdown COVID thing, and that was quite unfortunate for a lot of people. It still is. A lot of people are still having setbacks from that, and it's quite terrible. Hold on 1 second. Where's everything? Yeah. So yeah, look into some stuff and expanding. But did you have any other questions about that, Timothy? First, you're in here. Let's go back to this for a second. So your Glarien origins here for 18. This different one? Yeah. Oh, so you get, that's the digital download, and then this is the
physical book. Yeah.
The physical book here, and then here, this is where I was left off here. So you get the Dale cover here for 22. So I'm assuming same shipping. Yep, same shipping. Yeah. And then this cover here is gorgeous. So it looks like all the variant covers look like they're 22, which is
I think they 1 or 2 jump up to 25, but they're slight. They're again small print runs. Okay. But we do, if you like the variant covers, we have also a pick 2 tier, which is any 2 books, any 2. It could be any 2 covers, and it's actually a really good deal in comparison to the price of the variants. I always try to make it, the more you want, the cheaper it is.
Okay. So it looks like there's no more than 250 of each of these to be printed, and they're maxed out at 75 for these tiers here. So that's cool. That's cool there. And then this is the Stridey cover. That's a gorgeous painted piece right there. Also 22. And then there's your cosplay cover. So that's 25. Nice. That's lovely. Still pretty lovely. And then this cover here, absolutely gorgeous. Fire flamey one. So Glenn, that's a Supergirl artist there, $25. Then here, Glarien catch-up tier. So these are, is this physical?
Yeah, those are physical. That's the first 3 books in the miniseries.
So you get the physical and the digitals, 1 through 3, $35. That's awesome. So I click this. Is it still okay? So for $1 more, for $8, you get all 3 books. That's cool. And then down here, here's your pick 2. So for $36, you can pick any 2 of your 6 covers. Comes with all the digital rewards. Very cool.
So,
very cool.
If you look at that, that's 18 a piece. So all of a sudden, those variant covers are the same price as the A cover.
That's a good deal. That's a really good deal.
Yeah.
So come down here. Glarien 1 to 3 catch up first prints.
Yeah. So the other tier before that, issue 2 and 3 are first prints, but issue 1 is a second print. We went through, like, their first printing was a 3,000 print run. I'm down to 75 copies left of that first print of Glarien #1. So I know some people really care about first printings, so I threw out another 30 from my own personal collection for people coming new to the series who really wanted that first print of number 1.
And these are very limited. There were 30 and there's only 15 left. So half have been claimed. So if you want to get on that, that's already half claimed. And this cover here really caught my eye when I was flipping through this. Do you know who did the art on this one right here?
Let me think. I should know. It's Claudia Encanto.
Claudia Encanto. Okay. That cover
she's
is
really
gorgeous.
Great too. Yeah, again, another Italian artist. The Italians do comics really well. She does great work.
Oh, Jason here is art looks great. Hope I get back before it ends. Well, you have until November 15th is when it backs. But yeah, the art looks
and then
absolutely fabulous.
To be fair, Jason, just if I know not everyone has money all the time. We do a lot on Kickstarter. If you follow me on Kickstarter and if you can't back a campaign now, we'll be coming back in February with the next White Ash campaign. And we always do early bird specials the first 2 days of the campaign. And most of these books, like it was $2 cheaper for Glarien for the first 2 days. And the bundles are cheaper. So we have lots of early bird specials. But
nice.
Get in on this one too. I'm not saying don't back. I'm just saying that we do about 4 campaigns a year at this point.
Yeah, or you could run into him at a con and see if they have stuff there. Also, hey, what's up? Hey, Caroline. Let's see. Let's go back to here for a second. Let's go down here. Oh, you get the whole White Ash Universe digital collection. So this is all of your titles plus the game plus White Ash.
And plus another one, which is called How I Slept My Way Through College and Other Tales of Freshman Year, which is not in the fantasy universe, but it's another title I do. That's more of a thriller set at a college university where a young journalism student discovers her professor is running a high-end escort service using some of the students as call girls.
Wow.
So she's kind of figuring that mystery out.
That's amazing. Oh, here. So this is this one. Wait, where'd it go? Glarien and White Ash catch up tier. So this one here is this one here. So for $90, you can get the entire White Ash and Glarien series here. And that's limited of a 100. So let me click this just to see. So that's 15. And then if you want $65 outside the US there. So that's not bad because you're getting how many titles?
It's a heavy box. Because
the
trade, which is the first thing in the upper left-hand corner, is a 192-page trade. So that's like a pound and a half. The Glarien is a hardcover in the lower right-hand corner. It's 100 with a desk jacket. So that's also another beautiful heavy book. So I have to charge more because that's like 4.5, 5 pounds of comics that are shipping.
Yeah, the one book alone is quite large.
Yeah.
So. And then this one is all 6 covers for issue 3. So for $100 there, and these are almost out. There's 35 out of 40. So you have 40.
We had an early bird special on those, and those went very quickly.
Oh, okay.
So
we got some. Wait, hold on. Got some people chatting. Hold on, let me see what they're saying. Sounds good. Switching to an Etsy store for the floppies and FMC for the trades. Let's see. We got. They didn't have those high-end escorts when you were in college.
It depends on which college you went to.
They might have. You might have just not read into the right professor. Also, you're going to back this one? Nice. Thank you for coming by, Rose.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And they're also very nice because I did see the PDFs and they are quite lovely, by the way. So do check those out. They read nicely. And let's see. 16. And then right here, what is this for?
That's the physical of everything.
Oh, okay. So then this one was. So that's a digital, and this is the physical. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let me just click this.
You get a lot of comics. That's
okay. So 20. Okay, so that's also $65 for shipping there, which is not bad. You get a lot of comics. So that one there is how many comics is that?
For that one. You get the Glarien hardcover issues 1, 2, and 3 of Glarien. You get the White Ash trade paperback, and then the next 2 issues of White Ash, which is another 90 pages worth of books. You get How I Slept My Way Through College 1 and 2. and then you get the game 1 and 2. So it's a pretty big pack of books.
That's a hefty selection of books too, because some of these are way more than
They're all
20
big.
pages. Yeah,
They're all big.
more of them are
We
20 pages per book. Plus, this is
we
100
only
plus.
one
Yeah.
title up there that I think was a 24-page book, but everything else is 32 to like the White Ash book in the upper right-hand corner. That's a 64-page floppy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a 192-page trade, a 44-page issue, and then a 64-page issue for White Ash.
That's a lot. It's a lot of books. And then early bird all gone. Okay, so these are all gone. It looks like.
Yeah, that's all. This is all the stuff that looked. That was my mistake. Somehow shipping was being charged with the digital. I was like, don't back this one. I'm canceling it now. Please go to the other one.
Digital.
Yeah, I was like, someone was paying $30 for digital. I was like, don't do that. Please don't.
No. Oh no.
Yeah,
oh no.
So, but yeah, like there's, like you can say, the early prices. there were some sketch covers. There were, I had to
see how much. So 175. I'm just trying to get the pricing for the next time. So like 175 early bird, you were getting sketch covers. So that's what this was here.
Yeah, and the sketch covers are done by Connor Hughes, who is my partner on White Ash. Connor is amazing, and he has been doing some covers for Skybound recently, for both Void Rivals, and he did a 6-part connecting cover for their new Walking Deads that they're doing. He's amazing, and like getting his original art for that price plus the other covers it's a pretty good deal.
Oh, I'm glad you stopped by, Caroline. Thank you so much. He says, do you call your fans white ash holes?
I mean, I don't.
Maybe they call themselves that. I don't know.
That's right. There may be some other creators who say that about my fans. I don't know.
I do refer to the people in my chat as buttholes. So, I mean, there you go. But no, that was a really good deal for that. Oh, dang. I'm glad I didn't. I'm sorry I missed out on that. Dang. Okay.
No. Again, we do a couple.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You do a couple? Okay.
We do we do sketch covers every time, and
every time. Okay.
And I will say those were gone within 3 minutes.
Oh, I would say so. Are these what they look like, or those are just examples?
No, those are photos of actual sketch covers.
Oh, dang. Okay, now
February. He goes all out.
February. You said February is coming around.
Yeah.
All right, I'm definitely gonna be looking for February. Oh, dang.
And so these were all the variants for the first 3 issues of Glarien. And you've got Rosie Campy there, Leanna Kangas, Ishan Lee, Connor, Ivan Tao, Maud Park did one.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just trying to think of who else. Tina Valentino, Emily Pearson. So some of those will also be available post-campaign. I try not to do too many add-ons during the campaign because, to be honest, it's a nightmare to sort on the back end. And Backer Kit does that much more efficiently than Kickstarter does so far. So I put those things up like a giant store. And we've got White Ash playing cards. We have all the swag that you want is available in the store as well. Post campaign.
Yeah, I can see the Ivan right there.
Yep. Yeah, he did that cover. He's done a cover for White Ash, for the game, and for Glarien. We started working together like in 2019.
Cool.
So I kind of got in on the Ivan train before he kind of blew up to be a bigger artist.
Yeah, even Mog's starting to get out there as well. Yeah. I just I won a samurai piece from her last week. Yeah. It's pretty dope. Yeah, so you got some really cool artists here, and this one here, I really enjoy this. This is cool.
Yeah, that's Emily Pearson. Emily was doing comics for a while, and then ended up getting poached by Riot Games. Now she does concept work for them, and she gets paid a lot more than doing comics.
Yeah, I can see that just based on here. Yeah, she's got good character design skills.
Yeah. So
okay, so some add-ons. Okay, let's see. Oh, here's more of your
packaging. So we have done some of that in the past for custom packaging. We do a lot to make sure that the books just arrive safely, and if they don't, I replace them. Just as simple as that.
Nice.
That's.
Very cool. And then your stretch goals here, let's see. You get a
Yeah.
bookmark, which you already nailed, 33. You already nailed that. You get the 11 by 17 poster.
The
If you hit
36
30,
is going to be, as I said before, it's going to be the hollow foil version of the cover, which will be
very
given
cool.
out for free to 5 people who've already backed the campaign.
Ooh, nice. Also, at 36, there will be a mystery stretch goal, 40, 44, and 48. Well, you have 16 days left, so I really think you can probably nail this based on your
Yeah,
fan base alone.
and we've traditionally been somewhere in the 55 to
Okay.
65,000 for Glarien, which has been
Oh,
nice.
nice.
I think economics are a little slower right now. We have more people backing digital who might have back physical. I think that's happening a lot in Kickstarter, and that's,
Mm,
again, totally fine. I want people who are here for the story. Like that's what we're here for. I want people who love the story, and I don't really care if they're backing digital, if they're backing physical, if they're variant collectors. Obviously you like making money, but what I really want to do is be able to tell the story, get the books to people, and I'm fortunate enough to sort of know that the floor of what we're going to do is going to let me do that for a long time.
yes, and I'm so happy to see that so many people are backing it and liking this because it is a very unique and interesting story, and I like the art and the coloring and just pretty much everything that I've seen from just glancing at everything on here and then actually reading issue 1 of Glarien. Actually makes me it ends in a cliffhanger, and you're like wanting to read more. So I can't wait to just when we're done with this, go read the rest of it, rest of
That's
everything.
kind of all my books. We have like so they all have very good cliffhangers. Like you can tell me what you like about the or don't like about the rest of the book, but I will hang my hat on the fact that they all have excellent cliffhangers to the point people get frustrated because like, how long is it going to be until the next one? I need to know.
And then down here you have your team. Oh, look, there's you.
Yes, that is me.
Yes, and then here down here you have your artist. Oh, I like her art. The art for her photo there. Oh, nice. There's your colorist. There's Connor. Nice, nice, and that's cute. Editor, and then your campaign cutoff. That talks about your fulfillment and all that stuff there. Yeah, it's all your regular stuff. And then let me go back up here. Let's go back up here. Oh, I think you gotta. And then I'm gonna unplug quickly, and then we'll watch our video here.
Okay. Sure.
Because I keep forgetting to set up my second laptop because it's always weird. But hold on. Go back here because this laptop is weird. And when I unplug, it mutes me. And gotta do this. And I gotta pause it. And then you gotta go like this. All right. When I hit play, just let me know if you can hear it. Sometimes it randomly mutes me. Okay. Can you hear that? Did you hear that? Hello?
Yep, I can totally hear it.
Okay. All right. Let's watch this. Cool.
Hello, Kickstarter! We are back for a lucky 15th time with Glarien Chapter 3, with art by Romina Morinelli, colors by Finn Cram, and letters by Connor Hughes. Glarien follows the tale of White Ash's most dangerous elf,
as told through the eyes of Rachel, a young woman living in 1970s New York, who's having visions of being our elf warrior from 3,000 years ago. Think Red Sonja meets Taxi Driver, but with elves and demons. If you're a returning backer, you are the absolute best. Thanks to you, White Ash Comics has become one of the most popular brands on all of Kickstarter, and Glarien has become one of the most backed single-issue comic book series of all time. If you're new to what we do, I'm Charlie Stickney, writer and publisher of White Ash Comics. For the past 6.5 years, we've been putting out some of the best creator-owned books that you can find on Kickstarter or anywhere else for that matter. But today is all about Glarien. Glarien Origins follows the story of two women and the different paths they take to overcome life-altering tragedies. Jumping from ancient Alfheim to the streets of New York, the two seemingly unconnected tales will slowly weave together to reveal a piece of White Ash's complicated past. Oh, because Glarien's involved, expect carnage. Lots and lots of carnage. If you're new to White Ash, welcome aboard. Glarien is a standalone miniseries, so you don't need to be well-versed in White Ash lore to enjoy the ride. But if you want to get caught up on White Ash, the game, and all of our other books, we'll have tiers for that too. So find a reward you like below, and please share this campaign with all of your friends and virtual friends on social media. Over the last few years, we've seen a huge influx of creators coming to Kickstarter to make comic books. And none of them would be here without you, the fans. So thank you again for helping build the best place on earth to make independent comics. None of us could do any of this without you. Thank you.
That was a very awesome video. Well,
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was happy with how that one turned out.
Yeah, and then even when you see like the different characters in the backgrounds, they all have such different faces and different expressions. So they did such a great job on art styles on that. Kudos to the artist for doing that.
Yeah, again, I've just worked with some tremendous artists for the short stories, for the Glarien main series, and they all really like working with the character. And I think that's the best thing, is they get excited about working in this world and want to do more. So that's all you can really hope as writer.
Yeah, and I like the different vibes between the Glarien and the White Ash. Like you have like the different settings and like the elf towns and all that, like the Pennsylvania towns, and you got the New York and all that. That is very cool. I like that you have the different aspects of that. And also when you hear these vibes and you see the different characters, it makes you want to go to Runfest. That's like my favorite thing. I love that. This is truly amazing. But no, I really enjoy the art and the story, and kudos for you guys for producing a really well thought out and just established like story and creative universe. It's amazing. So kudos to you and your team for that.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, like it's again, it's a wonderful thing that we've been able to keep building the audience to be able to tell that story. And I think as a creator, when you set off down this path, you have this hope, you have this vision. Let's hope people will like it. And when you do hit something that's resonating with people who are enjoying your story, it's a magical experience, and you want to ride this ride as long as you can. And thankfully, I have a team that loves doing the books with me, and I haven't driven them crazy yet, which again is a wonderful thing. So, like it's like when they're all keep coming back, let's do the next one, that you've got something special that you're working on
together. Definitely. Let's see. So still 16 days ago. That has not changed. We have not been here that long. But yeah, if you guys any have more questions in the chat, go for it and leave them in here. I could kind of remove Gwen's question here because you want to know what's the backstory. We kind of already went through that. Do you have any other tidbits on the story for maybe White Ash?
So White Ash is, like I said, it's that grounded story, Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Rings in rural Pennsylvania. It's about a young man named Alec who comes from a family of coal miners. And the last thing he wants to be is a coal miner. He's like, hey, Dad, I'm going to college. I'm going to Carnegie Mellon. I'm going to study engineering. I'm out of here. And he's got that kind of attitude that we all have when we're 18, where we think we know everything. Our parents know nothing. And he's like, I'm going. But there's an accident at the coal mine, which keeps him in town for a couple of days. He meets this very lovely young woman whose father happens to own the coal mine. and their families are like, no, 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 you don't get together, you don't spend any time with each other, which of course makes her want to spend more time with him want to spend more time with her. And what starts off feeling like is a tale of class, we soon find is something more. It's who his family really is, who her family really is, what's going on in White Ash, what this universe is, what this town is really about, and that's where the story starts to unfold.
Very cool. Jason has a question here. When you write, do you listen to music? If so, what kind?
Uh, I sometimes, I mean, I would say like when I was younger, the music was really important to me. When I you tried to get in the right mood. The first screenplay I wrote to the Conan the Barbarian soundtrack on loop. Like the first one is great. Look at the big drums. And then as I got older, I would maybe I would curate a playlist or a little bit here, because again, I used to write a lot of romantic comedy, so I would think about what's the what kind of things would I want in the soundtrack of the movie, and so I'd have that going on as I would be writing it. This would be a good song for this scene. Maybe we can get this, maybe we can get something else, and so that kind of helps put you in the headspace. But then I had kids, and at that point, your life becomes, okay, here's 10 minutes I can write. Here is 3 minutes I can write. Your schedule is not your own anymore. So you don't have okay, today is writing day and I'm going to pick out the music and I'm going to get the lighting just right. And I'm going to get into the moment. You're like, okay, I have 7 minutes till they get back from school. I'm going to write a page. And so that's where my writing has transitioned to. I'll have a big thing that I'm working on, but it's more, when do I have the unit of time to write? So that fluff, for me, I think it used to be it's ways to procrastinate was I need to build a playlist before I can write this thing. That has gone away. And sometimes I'll have music on, sometimes I don't. At this point, it's now I'll hit shuffle on the playlist of everything I have in the the music category, or maybe just screenplay, so there won't be words coming in to affect me. But more often than not, I won't have anything on.
That's interesting though, that you would make a playlist though when you were doing a screenplay of what the soundtrack would be. That's kind of fascinating. I like that. I like that you
Yeah.
thought about that for the screenplay type stuff.
Yeah, I'm I'd have the outline. So I would write the outline without that, but once I had the outline, I was like, okay, this is the kind of emotional tone I'm looking for these scenes and things like that. And so you put it all together,
Nice.
and you'd have your playlist for this movie or this movie, things like that.
Oh no, I like that. I like that you went deep into that, because music to me is huge part of my life and everything. And I like that you thought about that as you were writing scripts and stuff, because I think that's integral part of the movie or whatever you're watching. So that's cool. I like that you did that. That's
Well,
neat.
and also I think there's a big difference between drawing and writing. I
Mm,
spent a lot of time drawing when I was younger. My first thought I was going to be a writer inker, and I did
okay.
my own webtoon, my own, not webtoon, but my own web comic many years ago. So I know enough about art to know that I should hire someone else if people want to buy my books, which I think is an important sort of epiphany to have. Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to get these out on time. I actually want these to look professional. I'm good, but not great. And so I hit that point. But when I was drawing, I would love to have music on, because you don't need to focus on the rhythm of the dialogue in the same way that you do when you're writing. And I think with writing, some of it's the cadence of how people are speaking. And so I may say things out loud, or I'll be you don't want to have a different rhythm coming in sometimes, interrupting the rhythm that you're trying to create. And I also worked as a film editor for a little while too. So for me, that rhythm is so important, and knowing where the beats hit. And I try to structure my panels to go with the dialogue. So certain words hit on certain panels and certain actions only so much. I need more panels here to show this scene. So for me, visual rhythm works with the auditory rhythm that you're trying to build in a scene.
Very cool. And Jason says, writers are artists too. This is true.
Yes, maybe a visual. Maybe that's not the proper terminology, but we are all artists in the creative sense. But visual artist versus a narrative artist. I'm going to call a writer a narrative artist. But boy, does that sound pretentious. I'm a narrative artist. But like, my point more so was that I understand the amount of time it takes, but I love that headspace that music can give you to zone out when you're focusing here and you need to focus on the line and you're letting that emotion sort of pull into your work, but you're taking that emotion from the external and putting it into the drawing, and you're letting your body be the conduit, the focus. For me, when I'm writing, I need to be the person who's dictating rhythm.
All right, that's very cool. 2 more questions from Glenn. He wanted to
Sure.
know, what got you interested in creating comics? Kind of answered that earlier.
Well, I mean, like briefly, I mean, I've always been into comics for a very long time. When I was in high school, I had a strip that ran in the school newspaper, and so I was making comics with a friend. He would write, I would write, he would draw, I would ink, and then as we got more into it, he would write a little bit more of it, and I would draw a little bit of it. So like I've been making comics in that medium since many years ago. Let's leave it at many years ago. since high school, and then in college, I had a strip in the school paper, and so like it's always been something that I wanted to do. I interned at Marvel when I was in college, so this was for me the career path I thought I was going to go into, and then I got a job offer in film and television, so that was more of a 15 to 20 year diversion. I like to say, like I'm a writer of pictures that move and those that don't. And so, like, and now I'm really enjoying writing the pictures that don't move so much.
Interesting. Is there any artist, alive or dead, that you would like to collaborate with? Like, who would be your dream collaborator with that you would like to have a storyteller?
So this is going to sound really cheesy,
Okay.
but Connor
Right.
Hughes, who I'm working with right now, is
Okay.
about as good as I can get.
Okay.
Like honestly, like if you read some of the more recent White Ash stuff, where his style has evolved to, and he's getting offers from all of the companies right now. Like big companies want him to work. He is happy to tell our story together. He is so good as a storyteller, and he fits what I do, and he makes me better. So like that, like I am very happy to work with Connor. That said, I mean, there are plenty of artists that when I was coming up, when I was reading comics in the late 80s, early 90s that I loved. That was one of the reasons why I got a Jay Lee cover for one of my books. You know, like for sure, you know, like I wouldn't mind having, like, I could go through my checklist of, you know, from back in the day, get my Jim Lee cover to go with the Jay Lee
Oh
cover.
yeah.
I could get my Todd McFarlane cover. You know, like I wouldn't mind like having 18-year-old Charlie's dream list of artists do covers for the book. But I think like most of those people aren't, you know, like they aren't doing so many indie comics. But you know, I mean, like I mean, I've talked to a lot of these artists now. I had a big conversation with Adam Kubert at San Diego about a year and a half ago, and you know, like so, like you get to know some of the people who are your heroes. And most of the artists are doing their own thing. But yeah, I mean, like, sure, I would love to have like just sort of check through and say, I would like to get a cover from him, cover from her, etc. And just like put those together.
That would be quite cool. Also, CJ wants to know, would you ever go back to work for Marvel?
So to be clear, I was an intern at Marvel. I never worked technically for Marvel. And when I was in college and I was an intern, that seemed like a dream job. As I got older, I lost my love for some of the Marvel books, the DC books, because as much as I love those, I think one of the inherent problems in big two comics is your job as a writer is to be a steward of the IP. It's to take it in a slightly different direction so it eventually can be reset. And I think as you evolve as both a reader and a storyteller, over time, you know, what you start to see is the tone changes drastically depending on who the writer is. So like the X-Men of the 90s felt very different than the X-Men of the late 80s. the, like Peter David had this incredible run on the Incredible Hulk, and there have been many writers who have done great jobs since then. But for me, my Hulk was that Peter David run. That's what Hulk feels like. So I think so. I started gravitating towards things where, it's Brian K. Vaughan doing Why the Last Man, because it's the same singular voice unified over the course of the run. And so for me, that's what's attractive. It's creators telling their story the way they want to tell it. I love Deadly Class. I think that was a brilliant book, and the art is gorgeous on that.
Yes.
I have a couple of the omnibuses. I'm going to get all of them. And so, so for me, I don't have the desire to write for Marvel or DC.
Okay.
I don't have the desire to write for other people. And that's coming from a place of privilege, because as a writer, to say, I don't want to write for other people sounds like a really snotty statement to say. And you have to have enough money to be able to sort of make those choices for yourself. But what excites me as a writer right now, and as someone who has done lots of writing for many years for different mediums, it's telling the stories about my characters. And so that's what gets me excited. Also, Marvel and DC don't pay as well as the money I make on Kickstarter, to be frank. They do not pay as well. So would I never write for Marvel if you were offered a project? I don't know. Like it's not even, again, it's not on my radar of things that I'm looking to do. So it's, I have, like, there's one series that I write called The Adept that is, it was not my character that I created, but this was someone who came up to me at a convention and said, we would love to have you help develop this universe with us, and would you be interested in doing it? And so there was a log line, and I got to help build a universe. And so that was interesting to me. But at the time, I didn't have as many things going on. Like right now, I'm writing the White Ash series. I'm writing the Glarien Origin series. I'm writing the game. I'm writing How I Slept My Way Through College and the Tales from Freshman Year. I have 2 other Glarien series that are in development right now. I have another White Ash spinoff that I'm starting to work on. And so finding the bandwidth to do those other projects well would be difficult. And, I mean, I still have connections in film and television. So I'm not going to say there haven't been any discussions about taking White Ash and turning that into a TV show or things like that. So if that all of a sudden was on my plate, I really wouldn't have the bandwidth. But you never say never. You don't know. Like if someone comes up to me and says, here's a big pile of money and we want to see your take on this for some reason, I mean, maybe. But probably, that's probably not in the cards right now. There's plenty of people who are dying to work on those properties, who have like 100 pitches. Like, I don't have my Spider-Man story. I don't have my Hulk story. I don't have any bandwidth that I've devoted to that.
Is there any title out there, doesn't matter which one, from Marvel, DC, or any indie title, that you would want to just say, hey, if you had full reign just to do your own, like either one short story or maybe even adapt it for like a movie or something, just have full reign on it, if you had full creative control, is there like one thing that you'd want to do for anything, like comic wise, or even like an old film, even redo an old film?
See, and then this is where we're getting to, like, if there was a film I loved, I don't know if it needs to be done again, right? Like I think like some of these are like Back to the Future to me is a perfect movie. It doesn't need to be rewritten. I mean, who does? Yes, of course, big piles of money are wonderful, and they can change our mindset on anything. So like, I never had the desire to like rewrite something that was great. Like let's let that be great. Like that be the great version of it. I got to play, like, a friend of mine is Pat Shand, who does this amazing universe called Destiny New York. So Pat asked me to play in his universe and do a short story for him. Like, that was fun. Like I'd be up for doing that if there was another indie creator who had a vision for a universe and they asked me, would you do a short story? Do you want to play in this? I'd be up for doing something like that if it was a creator I liked, if it was a universe I liked. But it wouldn't be me taking over their universe. I want them to do their thing. But if they wanted me if we were friends, to do a little something in their thing. For sure.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I like Pat. Pat's a cool dude. I saw him. I think he was on Christie's show one day, and they were talking. And he's a very, very fun guy. I like his books as well.
Yes. But he's like, what Pat's done with his Destined New York series, I think he's on his 6th or 7th trade, and he's built that all through Kickstarter, and that's a huge universe, and he's got spin-offs, and it's really impressive. I mean, I honestly think what Pat has built has been one of the most impressive things that's happened in indie comics in the last 15 years, and people don't talk about it, about the size and the scope of this thing that he's built that is professional caliber, that's really well written, that has all of these characters. So it's an impressive feat.
He's been doing so well. He just launched that other one. I think it might have just ended as well. The what's the name of it?
He had Only Friends with Penn that just ended, and he has a new book, Smoke Weed, See the Future one shot, that's live right now. All of Pat's books are good.
No, the one it just ended. It ended like last month. That's the one I saw him do the promo tours from. I can't remember the name of it. I can remember the cover art for it. Had a lady. Oh crap!
Well, he has an adult one.
He has a lot. The adult one. It's the adult one. Yeah.
So it's like there's steamy, cheeky. It might have been his Cheeky Comics annual. Like he's got a lot going on.
He's got a lot.
And he's kind of rolled Kickstarter into being a full-time publisher, where he started hiring people to work with him. And so he's trying to do at least one book a month from his different imprints. It's impressive. I really like tip my cap to Pat in terms of like his output. So yes.
I had a lady. Oh, I know that one. Yeah. I know. It's hard. He had a lot of titles in the last couple months, let me tell you. But I remember it was.
And if you like not safe for work books with story, that's what he does. Like right now, he's doing some of that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I said lady, because that's what I meant with lady. But no, he's been putting a lot of fun posts as well, and I've been enjoying them every time he plopped them on the Instagram.
Yeah, that's great.
Good question. What's your
strangest? Okay, so I this was, I don't know if it's strange. I'll just put this as a fan interaction that I'll tell you about, because this was touching for me, but also unexpected.
Oh, okay.
And so this was San Diego Comic-Con a year and a half, maybe it was trying to think whether it was this last year or 2 years ago, but Connor, who's my partner and artist on White Ash, had just come up to he was standing in front of the booth, unaware that he was kind of blocking things for other people to see the booth. And he's talking to me, and he's about to go. And there's this older woman, probably in her late 50s, early 60s, who's standing patiently behind him. And I don't know if she wants directions. I don't know if she wants whatever. But she's trying to get to our booth. So I'm just giving him a little Connor, I'm trying to be subtle about it. Cause again, he's got his arms down. He's just blocking. I'm like, Connor, just move that way. And then she sees me doing this, and she's like, oh dear, you don't have to move. I can wait. And I looked at her. I was just kind of I'm like, it's okay. He's just the artist, trying to be and then she does this. And then she looks up at him and she goes, "Are you Connor Hughes?" And I was like, oh my God. And then she turns and looks at me and she goes, "And are you Charlie Stickney?" And I was like, "Yes." And she goes, "Oh," and she goes, "I love everything you do." And it was so touching, but it was also I didn't expect her to be a fan of our series. And this fan was visibly overcome meeting us. And so for me, it was so rewarding that what we were doing was reaching someone. And it's obviously reached a lot of people. We have people who come back, but to see that in person, it was amazing. And then Connor did a sketch cover for her at a very cheap price, because we were, she probably went back to her friends. Was like, "I got flipped another one." But no,
that's her stick.
That's right. But it was very touching and unexpected. So I don't know if it was the strangest, but it was a very memorable interaction that I had with a fan at a convention.
That's probably the most adorable fan interaction I've ever heard in my life.
It was great. It was really great. And it goes to show you don't know who who all of your readers are, right?
Oh,
Like we
that's
can
true.
think I am marketing to this demographic X and Y, and that there's some good overlap here. Um, but you really just, you know, uh, but you're really getting these people over here, or these people will also enjoy your book. And I find that my books resonate with the people who read them.
Mm,
So, which is
yeah.
always a good thing. If I can get them to actually read the book, then they get hooked. So sometimes it's too much of a pitch. It feels like too much of a mishmash, and like I don't know if those things will come together. But when people read the books, they tend to stay around. And
Yeah. Normally people are overcome with lies. You're amazing, Glenn. See, I think your books will be a good gateway for people who love like fantasy and sci-fi who would want to get into comics or are
yeah,
into like tabletop role play stuff, like the gaming, but also want to read and get into comics as well, or like into the gaming aspect as well, but never read comics. I think that would be an awesome jump for them to get into because it kind of reads like that when you're reading the book. It's very neat, and I dig all that kind of aspect of that. So that's why when you're reading this, you can kind of visualize that for other aspects of it into either movie, game, or something when you're seeing this stuff because it has all that in it when you're reading it, and it's neat. So I think that's
also
why,
I think. Well,
yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I think one of the things that I try to do with my writing is make it accessible. I think when you do high fantasy, sometimes it's so easy to overwhelm people with all these locations and all these places, and we're
Yeah.
going to this realm, and it's this, and you just get like it's inaccessible. And so for me, what I love to do with both fantasy and sci-fi is start from a grounded place, whether it's a coal mining town in White Ash, whether it's in Boston where the
Okay.
game is set, Glarien having the stuff that's set in the 1970s, gives people, new readers who are coming to it, access points that they understand. I understand what that thing is like.
Mm,
And then the fantasy comes in, I like to call it fantasy creep, slowly comes in, sci-fi creep. And then before you know it, you're having this big epic adventure. But that's not where we start. We don't hit you with it right over the head. We give you time to sort of ease in, you test the waters, and before you know it, you're just loving being in a fantasy world.
yeah. Some of my absolute favorite reads of all times have been like the Landover series and some local books actually that take place in Michigan, but
Yep.
are fantasy based. Where like the librarian series, where they get kicked like sucked into like a fantasy thing, but they're having like librarians go through like Michigan, and there's other ones that are like in Baltimore. And if you read it, there's like demon battle that takes place in the Glen Burnie Mall. Like it's amazing
Yeah.
that like could cross over like that, and you're like, I never would have thought in a million years that I would have read a series or a book or even see a comic that takes place in like things that you have been to. And that's exciting when you see that kind of stuff because it immediately puts you into the scenario yourself because you've actually physically been there.
So going back to one of our earlier questions, now that you brought it up, just thinking off the top of
Yeah.
my head, Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold would make a great feature. That is
Oh,
something that
yes.
I would not mind adapting. And I
I,
know it's been in
yes.
development for many years,
Yes.
and I just never been able to make it. But if you haven't read the Landover series, it's incredible.
So
So
good.
Terry
So good.
Brooks, that like that's my favorite. Like I like it better than his Shannara series. Shannara was obviously great too,
Me too.
but but like that again, that grounded fantasy. It was like one was him trying to do Tolkien, right? And
Mm.
like the first Shannara series really reads like the best Lord of the Rings knockoff that there was, where you even had like the Gandalf figure. You had all those different beats, and you had a mission to go destroy the Elfstones or whatever. Like it was, but it was great. Like I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not knocking it. But like his Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold Landover,
Oh,
it was its own thing. It was the first time I had read something like that. That was great. Um,
yeah. That one hooked me from that first book, and I
yep,
loved that book so much.
yep.
I was really big into Anne McCaffrey stuff, Discworld series, just
Hmm.
all of it. I devoured all of that stuff when I read it. But the Landover series, that series struck with me probably the most, and I've read that so many times, and then I adore that series more than anything. And I've always wanted that to be a film or series. Is just so well developed when you read
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah. Glenn, if you like the Shannara Chronicles TV show, You would really love the Landover series. Just read the book or hear the audio tapes. It's so good. It's really good. Oh, interesting. Would you attempt writing horror or thrillers?
Well, the How I Slept My Way Through College and Other Tales from Freshman Year is a little bit of a thriller. There's definitely some stuff going on in that vein. I have like the 3 or 4 horror films that I would write, but it's not like right now. It's not what my fans want. You know, it's like sometimes it's good to know what your people want. I did a big survey after one of my last Kickstarters, and I got a really good response. I had like 600 and something people who responded to the survey, so it was really easy to see what they wanted more of. And like horror story was on that, and no one wanted that. So it's like it's fine, it's fine. Like I have plenty of things that I want to write that were in the realm of what my Kickstarter backers want more of. And that I was already planning some of those things, but it was interesting to see that that's not where my particular audience that I've cultivated goes for. And it might be different if I dropped a book on Kickstarter, or if I pitched it to a film production company or something. Like, here's the horror film, like maybe they would snatch that up, because with a lot of things, it's horror, comedy, it's all about timing, right? And subverting expectations. And so if you can do one well, hopefully you can do the other well. So it's like I can write that. Action adventure is really easy for me. I have a couple of action adventures. I have some big conspiracy theory things that I've pitched around a little bit. So like, yes, in that vein I can do, but right now it's the grounded sci-fi, it's the grounded fantasy, the high fantasy is kind of my bread and butter, and I'm loving playing in those worlds.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting too, because when did you drop the survey for that? Was it during your PG-ish 13 White Ash, or was it during the Glarien? Because
I think it was during Glarien, the short and deadly. You know what? Actually, let me rephrase that. I put the survey out in a couple of different Kickstarter updates for different books. So it wasn't just in one place. It came out and I was like, here's what's coming out for the rest of the year, but we want some help looking forward to 2024. What would you be interested in?
Interesting, because I was going to say, if it was during the first campaigns for White Ash, because that was more of a tamer, maybe PG audience, they might have said no. But now that you're having more gore and some other mature scenes, they might have changed their mind going forward with the Glarien stuff. So that's interesting.
I will say our audience actually expanded when we went more adult with Glarien. So like that, like the last, like the first Glarien campaign, we did about 1,700 backers, which was great, because like White Ash had been around 1,300 at that point. So it was nice to sort of bump it up and bring in a whole new crop.
That's very cool. And sometimes you don't know what they want you to give to them. That's also true, but it's a Magic Kingdom over Landover for sale sold by Terry Brooks. Yes. Oh, you grabbed the audiobook? Perfect. Yeah, read that. You're gonna love it. It's fantastic. It's really great. So it is going on 2 hours. I know you wanted to get out of here because you had some stuff to do around the family mark. So there's any last questions, go ahead and plop them in here. So I'll let that run for a minute. But do you have any upcoming stuff going on that you would want to promote or anything?
Well, we have this is our last Kickstarter of the year. Like I said, we'll be back in February, probably with the next White Ash. That's the plan right now. We're going to do a big booth, I said this early in the show, at Los Angeles Comic-Con. That will be a 10 by 20 with 2 big end caps. That's December 1st through December 3rd. That's kind of like the rest of the year. It's a lot. So, I'm also like our Glarien Short and Deadly hardcover. This is going to be part of my life for the next month, is finally showing up from the printer. It's been on boats and things, and it's in the port right now. So I will be getting it at my place in the next week and a half. And that's 3,000 copies of this hardcover. So there's going to be a lot of sorting, a lot of bringing things to the storage unit, and then a lot of shipping, because we had over 1,000 orders that have to go out in the mail for that. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So if anyone's here in Los Angeles and wants to ship books,
that is a honking hefty shipment of 3,000 hardcovers. Let me tell you.
It is. It's a big shipment. It's going to probably be like 5 pallets worth of books.
Whoa! Do you even have a place big enough to put that?
I do. I just expanded my storage facility.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, no, like it is almost. I can't believe that it's almost November, and that is like mind blowing to me because the next 2 months are gonna go just flying by.
Yes.
And I can't even fathom that. My brain can't even process that because I'm still thinking it's like March. Like, where'd it go? I don't know. Like, what happens? Oh, good question. Do you have any of your books in an LCS?
Yeah. So the first White Ash trade is actually available pretty much everywhere. I mean, I don't know if their LCS is stocking it, but you can check there first. Otherwise, it's on Amazon. It's at Barnes and Noble. You can get it through, and this was published through Scout, so it's also on the Scout web store. Through Scout, you can probably also get a Glarien one-shot, which is 3 short stories, and you can get White Ash season 201, which is the issue that came after the trade. So they have that on their website too. So you can get some White Ash through Scout, through, and then if you go to any of the digital services, we're on Comixology. It's on, I think Omnibus has us on there as well. We're also through your local library. So if your local library has Comics Plus or Comics Hub, I think that's what it's called. But if your library does digital comics, you can probably check out White Ash as well.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that that libraries are branching out into more comics. Yes. And putting them on the shelf. So that's very awesome that they are doing that. So props to libraries for doing that and getting more books into kids' hands and everybody else's hands for that matter.
And just so you know, like if you check out a digital book through a library, the creator and the publisher, you get a very small payment for that. So, you know,
really?
Yeah. So it's a nice thing.
I never knew that. That is cool. That's good to know. So go check out that at some libraries, people. So very cool. All right. So thank you very much, Charlie, for joining me today.
I appreciate it. This was wonderful. And I hope you have a great rest of your month. You got 2 more days, right?
2 more days. I know. And it's Halloween. Isn't that crazy? Right. That's so nuts to me.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't. My brain just freaked out trying to realize that it's Halloween. End of the month as well.
Thankfully, my kids already have their costumes, so we are good.
Oh,
we are set to go.
Perfect.
And,
perfect.
But yeah, no, it was wonderful. I really appreciate you giving me the space. It was nice meeting all of the people in your chat, and I hope. Did you say they're called?
They're my buttholes.
Buttholes.
Buttholes. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Whatever they are called, they were wonderful. Thanks for having a conversation, taking the time to spend some time with me. And this was delightful. And I will hopefully, send some more creators your way because it's just such a great.
Oh, well, thank you. Thing. Yes, please come back. You are welcome anytime. Yes. And we're almost at 2 hours. So let's get out of here. And I'm going to go get something to eat. And I got to go finish some Muppets. So I can be doing that the rest of the night. So hopefully you and your family have a great evening and a lovely Halloween. So let's end this thing and get out of here. So bye, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.